It started to rain even harder. Guchenak put the book inside his clothes and with a smile gave Hyoleong the order to capture them, as there was nothing better to recover than the pure blood of a young person. The ninja nodded his head, and then the two began to rush towards Soryong and the others. He drew his kunais and couldn't help but go on alert. With an expression full of determination, he commanded his men to unleash the 5-position annihilation formation since they could not allow them to reach Soryong. Guchenak jumped, and while his body was emitting a suffocating energy, he started laughing like a madman, asking P to try to stop him. Everyone's attention focused on him, putting them on alert. Using his power, Guchenak unleashed a powerful attack, creating a great explosion in the area that shattered the ground into pieces. P knew this was bad, so he asked Soryong to be careful. The rocks were flung out, but Soryong put his arms in front of his face to avoid being hit. Just then, the ninja appeared behind Soryong and grabbed him by the neck with a piercing gaze. He began to choke Soryong using a rear naked choke, and while his eyes were glowing, he asked him to stay still since the elder wanted to take his pure blood. Little by little, Soryong started running out of air, causing his face to turn blue. But with his remaining strength, he gave the order to his children to bite. The small centipedes emerged and attacked the ninja, biting him on the wrists and neck, forcing him to release Soryong. The small centipedes were biting with all their might. They were adorable. Seeing that they were centipedes, the ninja couldn't help but feel somewhat confused. While the ninja was trying to understand the situation, someone threw a kunai which lodged in his head, leaving Soryong somewhat confused. The small centipedes returned with Soryong and the ninja's body began to burn in flames. He put his hands in front of his face and closed his eyes without knowing what was happening. Someone called out to Soryong. He turned around and his eyes widened with happiness. It was Huyen, the elder of the clan, and Wolfgang. She had been the one who had thrown the kunai. She became serious, and Wolfgang clenched his teeth as something caught their attention. P and the others were using the 5-poison annihilation formation, so they didn't know what was happening. P's men began attacking Guchenak, who grabbed one of them by the neck and with a smile started releasing malignant energy. He turned toward them and with a nervous gaze revealed that they were being attacked by an elder from the blood cult. This made Huyen's eyes widen in surprise and fear. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. She panicked, started running towards them and gave the order to everyone to assist Deputy Leader Gu P. Wolfgang began to follow her and nodded his head. With a serious gaze, he gave the order to everyone to transform the 5-poison annihilation formation into the 9-poison formation annihilation. Guchenak defeated one of the clan members and threw his body to the ground. But just then, P and the others surrounded him, adopting the 9-poison formation annihilation. A smile appeared on Guchenak's face when he realized that Soryong had been the one who had defeated Takanyong's blood hand poison claw. His eyes began to shine with malice, and he mocked Takanyong, saying that Blood Hand Poison Claw was just an overrated name since, after all, he had been bitten to death by none other than centipedes. Wolfgang, annoyed by the old man's attitude, gave the order to shut his mouth, revealing that he was going to be buried here. Upon hearing this, an exciting smile appeared on Guchenak's face. He went crazy, and while his body was emitting a powerful evil energy, he mocked Wolfgang and the others, telling them to try it if they had guts. The battle began, and under the intense rain, fire started to emerge. One of the clan members was injured. Soryong began to bandage his arm wound, causing him to writhe in pain. But he asked him to please hold on a little longer. Soryong bandaged the wound. He was somewhat worried since things were not going well as their side was becoming increasingly exhausted. Guchenak grabbed one of the clan members by the neck and with a smile began to use his power and absorb his blood. While P and the others grew weaker than before, this bastard from the blood cult became more energetic again as soon as he absorbed blood to recover. Guchenak attacked Huyen, causing her body to crash against the tree. Soryong, who was bandaging the wound, couldn't help but go on alert. She fell to the ground, clenched her teeth, and began writhing in pain. Soryong, showing concern, turned around and asked if she was okay. He approached her and, worried about his future wife, placed his hands on her shoulders and asked if she was hurt anywhere. She lied saying she was fine, but then spat blood. She grabbed Soryong's hand, making him curious. With an exhausted look, she asked her future husband to please return to the clan and bring reinforcements, revealing that at this moment, they were not enough to defeat Guchenak. Soryong couldn't help but grit his teeth and feel furious knowing that she was right. Guchenak attacked again, absorbing the blood of another clan member, forcing P and the others to retreat. It was evident that Soryong could do nothing in this battle. Wolfgang, visibly nervous, asked Soryong to return and bring reinforcements for the sake of the clan. The elder promised to somehow hold back Gu Chenak, urging him to hurry. Soryang observed them silently for a moment and, with a desperate look, agreed, promising to return as soon as possible. He explained that his mobility arts were deficient, so he wasn't very sure if he would be able to do it. But just before he could finish the sentence, Huyen gave him a hug with tears in her eyes and, with a kind smile, said she trusted that Soryang could do it since he had been training hard all this time. She promised that next time they would go looking for poisonous creatures together again, leaving Soryang surprised. Huyen rested her hands on his shoulders and asked him to please go back and bring reinforcements from the clan. Then she ran out to support the others. Soryang stayed thinking in silence. With a sad gaze, he decided to return since this was driving him crazy. He started running back to the clan under the intense rain. He was panting heavily, and each step became heavier than the last. Soryang collapsed on the ground, causing centipedes to emerge from his clothes. The small creatures began encouraging him not to give up. He composed himself and began to stroke one of the centipedes. It was strange since even if he used his mobility art at full speed, it would take him almost half a day, not to mention that most of the clan's experts were also absent. Even if he called for reinforcements, they wouldn't arrive in time. It started raining even more intensely. Soryang began to observe silently and started pondering. A question came to his mind. He didn't know why they had sent him to seek help, realizing that they wanted to save at least him. He couldn't help but clench his fist as he thought the reason was because he was the youngest, weak, and needed protection, questioning whether this was what chivalry truly meant for martial artists. He remembered the kind smile of the patriarch when he mentioned that now Soryang was also part of the family. The word family began to resonate in his head. He had never seriously thought about this, thinking that he still wasn't a member of the Tang clan family from Sichuan. The exciting memories he had lived with them and the image of Huyen and the others smiling and extending their hand appeared in his mind. Everyone thought that he was already part of the family. He couldn't help but feel somewhat embarrassed and didn't take their hand since he was the only one who thought that he wasn't part of the family yet. Soryang began to smile, and then he caressed one of his centipedes, realizing that they were too warm-hearted to be a clan of assassins. He stood up, and his eyes began to shine with determination, as it was time to save Mom. The centipedes made an adorable sound, indicating that they were happy. Soryang started running. He was determined to save them. He had to think of some way. The members of the blood cult could recover energy. The forest was full of poisonous creatures like snakes and frogs and poisonous plants. Soryang continued running until he stopped. In front of him there was a nest of snakes. He began to observe in silence, devising a plan. The nest of snakes was full of venomous snakes with piercing gazes. Upon feeling the presence of the creatures, one of the centipedes began to stir and become furious. Caressing the centipede, with a smile, Soryang asked it not to worry since he was going to be fine. He took the centipedes out of his clothes and left them on the ground. One of them was sleeping and the other two were crying. Without wasting time, Soryang left the centipedes behind and started running towards the snake's nest. And without hesitating for a second, he jumped inside, making the snake's attention focus on him. A confident smile appeared on his face. He was Spicy Fabry and had to resolve this matter in his own way. So, friends, this chapter comes to an end. What will happen next? We'll uncover it in the next chapter. Don't forget to rate this chapter out of 10 in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.